Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Dudes Talking Manga. I am, of course, accompanied by my wonderful co-host, Andrew. Andrew, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good, my brother. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm ready to talk some Berserk. I like that this is being a regular thing every 2 weeks.
Yes,
And,
sir. What a
you
good
know,
schedule.
yeah, and this week we get to dive into Berserk Volume 24. We want to take just a second to thank everyone that's tuning in to the live stream today and everyone that's listening after the fact. We appreciate it. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about this today. What did you think of Volume 24 overall, man?
I did like the journey we went on. I
Mhm.
thought we were going to get a little bit more action. Like there was a lot of buildup, and then I don't know. I liked it. I did like it, and we'll get to dive in. I actually really liked a couple parts. I thought it was really had a lot of humor in it too.
Yeah, I would say one of the more humor heavy, maybe the most heavy out of them all. And yeah, I do agree. There's like a lack of action, but some of our favorite moments in Berserk have actually been low action, if you think
Yeah.
about it. This one, we get some pretty big answers about the Behelit. We learn more about elves. We learn more about the astral plane. So it's a very big lore building volume.
Yes. Yeah, I liked that too. We did get some answers, which typically we don't get full front-facing answers. It's like, it might be here, it might be there, but yeah, I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you felt it because it was so on the nose, but this has felt like Miura's take on the classical fairy tale, right?
Yeah,
Felt
it
that
did.
way, and in some regards, it almost felt like a video game. Like we got a side quest unlocked,
Yeah, it did.
and we
'Cause I
unlocked
think
some
that's
new gear.
exactly what I thought, yeah. That's 100% it. You had to load up, which I always love, and gear up, but
Gearing up,
yeah.
getting some new stuff out. Everyone's getting
Uh-huh.
special weapons, and and I'll be honest. So in books, I generally don't like that. So whenever
Yes.
I feel the video game flavor coming in,
Mhm.
with this fits right at home, and
Yeah.
it made me want to play one of the Berserk video games that we've been looking at. I know we've both been googling and trying to
Yeah.
figure out how we can go swing a big slab of iron and kill some demons
On the
um,
Sega
on the
Dreamcast.
Sega Dreamcast for sure. Greatest console of all time, way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I enjoyed the fairy tale takes
I
in this and kind of how Miura played with those. I thought there was some really interesting stuff when it came to the witches.
Yes.
And we'll dive into all of that. A lot of nature in this one, having a like kind of a living tree mansion.
Mhm.
Really, really cool. Something I've always enjoyed. Any story with characters living inside of like oak trees is fine by me. And then you had the golems, which were the show stealer, and I don't know why they had to kill them. They're adorable.
I know, right? They kind of reminded me of Big Hero 6.
Okay.
Like when I first saw it, I loved that. I love Big Hero 6. So like that's for me. Any chance I get to give a shout out to Big Hero 6, I do.
Yeah, dude.
Like the big, big fluffy.
It's like a marshmallow man, and then
Yeah.
Guts is like, "It must be stopped," and I'm like, "No, just don't."
Well, Isidro just goes up and kicks him in the shin. Like, what a little shit. He's being such a little shit. Like, even more than normal. And I
Well,
also love the banter between Puck and Isidro. Like, I think
yes,
it's so funny. So much of that now. It's getting more and more, which I love. I'm for it.
yeah. It was. I felt like this was the Isidro volume in a
Yes.
lot of ways, and Farnese had some development as well as Serpico, but and also we have Shirke, who we get introduced as the witch, right?
Mhm.
And then that kind of gets flushed out. But I do feel like Isidro got more page time than ever before here.
Yeah.
And I like the humor.
I did too.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, and I mean, I say it time and time again, but Miura really does balance things. And it's like just when you need a little breath of fresh air and some humor, he hits you with it. And it's not overdone. None of it's overdone. That's what's so insane to me. Is just everything is balanced on a nice edge all the time. It's not too much funny. I mean, that's how I look at it. It's not too okay, some of the stuff's a little far gone, but you got to have that to
Oh
go
yeah.
back the other way. The hinge swings both ways.
Yeah, and also it's a little bit different art too, because on those
Yeah.
more humorous panels, we get a different type of style in the illustrations, and it just shows that Miura obviously had like a ton of range, which we've talked about, time and time again of his range being amazing, and also with his pacing. Apparently, Isidro is not favored in the Berserk fandom. Like people don't like him at all.
Really?
I felt, I will say this, in this volume, it did get a little much for me actually.
He was pretty annoying.
I mean, yeah,
parts, yeah.
and it was humorous and stuff, but I felt like he had so much page time. But I also reserve the right to change my mind about that later, because
Fair.
this is all building blocks, right?
True.
And we get Morgan, who is from the village that's attacked by the trolls. And I love the conversation between Isidro and Morgan. I actually thought it was one of the strongest pieces of this volume.
Yeah, I like that too.
And it's a conversation I think that we can relate to, and anybody in here can relate to, that's kind of grown up a little bit. But even now, in my early 30s, I'm starting to see that a lot of the stuff that older people told me back in the day was absolutely true. My body does hurt constantly when I wake up. I do rely on coffee to get through the day, and I don't have much hope. I struggle on.
Keep on struggling.
But that is it's the time old thing of the older person bestowing some knowledge of their mistakes, and then the younger person, Isidro in this instance, saying, "Shut up, old man. This is about me.
Yeah,
I'm not going to fall for that." But obviously Isidro is having reflections about leaving his village, abandoning his family, all these things.
Yeah, we do at least get to see him thinking in those terms somewhat, though. Yeah.
Yes, and he pushes away. Because that's what we do, because we're stubborn when we're young. I mean, we're all dumb. We're like, and we stay dumb, I believe, but we're extra dumb when we're young.
I mean, just oblivious ignorance. I mean, ignorance is bliss, but it can also,
yes,
it can do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why he almost gets killed by the troll.
Yeah,
I mean, he dives in, and he almost pays for it dearly, and thank God Shirke was there to save him. I guess some people didn't want him to be saved, but
now a couple books ago, I would have probably been right on board too. But
I've come around. Didn't like him when he
I didn't like him at all, and I didn't like Puck. Now, honestly, dude, Almond Head, or what is it? Not Almond Head. What does he call himself? Like whatever. What his head turns into the nut. It's so funny. It gets me every time.
Well, Puck is a very good balancing act, because he balances Isidro whenever Isidro is thinking about how he wants to wield the swords, which, by the way, whenever Guts declines the hammer, sometimes you got to pull the hammer out. You know what I mean? And Isidro tries to pick up the hammer in the background of the panel. I thought that was so funny.
It was hilarious.
I thought it was just excellent.
Chestnut, thank you.
I think we're going to do this one a little bit different. We usually, guys, if you've been watching the show for a while, we usually do a chronological recap. But I think we're just going to talk because I think my notes are good enough to where we can kind of bounce around, and we're already kind of diving into the Isidro and the trolls and the weapons and stuff. So we can just bounce around to different topics and different characters as we go, and we'll take some hints from chat as well, where we want to take it next if we come to a standstill. But I did think that Isidro and Puck's relationship, it's already good, but it got much better in this volume because of Puck actually giving advice to Isidro. And for some reason, Isidro, he bucks back, but he listens. He listens a little bit, right? And he's a really good, like a rogue character almost. But, he throws his stones, right?
It's great. Well, I think, too, it's funny. I almost took it as Puck being the counselor for the group because, he's helped Guts as much as he can, essentially. And now Guts is somewhat stable, at least.
Yes.
In this one he is. And so now he's moving on to Isidro to try to help him out.
Yeah, and I really like the fact that we even got Isidro and Guts, like you said, working together and him giving him advice. And it's funny because Guts has these really sentimental moments with these characters. He even has one with Serpico, or at least attempts to. Yeah. And then at the end, he's just usually like, "But you can do whatever you want. I don't care."
I loved that too because he has that moment. I think it was in the beginning with both of them, and the Serpico's like, "Hey, you want to help me with firewood?" He's like, "Nah, I'm good. We can have a heart to heart, but I'm not going to do that."
Yeah,
you get a little bit of it now. I'll be a little bit nice to you, but
and someone's throwing stones at them the whole time they're talking. It's very humorous, very humorous. You're right. Really this is definitely the comedy volume, while still building out the world. But yeah, Isidro, pretty dope. I think his magical weapon that he gets, if I remember correctly, I had them all listed here.
It's like that blood or like the lava dagger.
The salamander dagger. Which is fire elemental, and it is a dagger, so it does still stick with the whole rogue theme that we get from Isidro. And also the biggest moment in this volume, we got the Isidro drop kick.
Isidro, wait, what?
Yeah, he hits him with the EC drop kick, he calls it. And I put it in all capital letters, and I put, let's effing go.
We did have a clothesline too in here too.
We did. We had a clothesline from hell, and we had an EC drop kick. Yeah, EC drop kick is the most monumental piece of character development in all these volumes. Forget the eclipse.
Really.
Power of conviction can move aside. It's really all about the EC drop kick at the end of the day, folks. I love that panel. I thought it was great. And I say it every time, but there are some panels in here that are like greatest of all time.
Oh, panels. Dude, I know. I took some. I have them like clipped to the top of my notes that I just thought were hilarious. Honestly, one of the hardest ones I laughed was Puck in his war gear. Like, like, I'm a warman. Like, where do you like what? So funny, dude.
Oh, and Haka Light in chat said he also EC dropped to the old man he stole apples from. Yeah, whenever he steals from that man at the beginning and he like hits him in the head and blood sprays out of his nose. That's such an intense panel.
Gosh, right?
And it's such a good example why people should hate Isidro. Because the guy was going to give him something and he was like, selfish old man, and like, you know,
just takes all of his stuff.
EC drops his elbow into his head. Dude, the blood though spraying out of the nose. I thought
it was so intense.
I could feel it.
Yeah, like over some apples. Like, dude, chill. Like, just take a couple. Like, this dude's been harvesting these, and you just no, he's a little shit.
And we were talking about Puck, and Patrick brings up a really good point. He said, "What did you guys think of Puck claiming the Behelit as his own?" Yeah, and to be fair, I think Puck's been doing this for a while. He always calls it his Betchy, and is very protective of it. And it makes you wonder, like, I don't think this is the case, but like, does Puck have ulterior motives? I don't think that that's truly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I didn't think that. But I mean, we do get into it's going to be in the right hands at the right time.
Yeah.
So whose hands is? I mean, whose hands are those?
Yeah, and I thought that entire thing with Guts talking to is it Flora? I'm trying to find it. Yeah, Flora. Yeah. So obviously we have Shirka, who we had seen in prior volumes, and we didn't know who she was. We knew that there was an elf with her. We knew that she was a witch, but it turns out she's a witch in training. She saves the cast from the trolls, and then we get introduced to her master, which is Flora, who's also a witch, who happened to be one of the people who helped out Morgan back in the day with medicine and sickness. This is back when witches weren't being killed by the Holy See. Yeah, which Farnese being there is a totally crazy thing too, right? Flora immediately forgives Farnese, like she just knows.
That's insane. She knew so much, like knew everything.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful moment too. Yeah, because you know, obviously her people have been persecuted, and Farnese was at the lead of that, and Farnese's freaking out, and Flora just says, "I forgive you."
Yeah, like just immediately.
Yeah, prematurely just calls her out, and also she called Guts and Casca the branded pair.
Yeah, out the gate. Well, dude, with that, like the Holy See thing too, so much religion stuff was in this episode. I mean, there has been throughout our whole journey, but really a lot was in this one. I mean, talking about like how I forget what they called that magic that she had, but I mean, they essentially had places for her to practice, and then the Holy See just came and was like, our stuff's better, which is, I mean, kind of how historically religion has been. So,
well, on top of that, we also see that it's explained in a way where it doesn't necessarily demonize religion, but it says that organized, politically driven religion is a problem.
Yes.
That kind of use it to push their political gain, to start wars, to justify acts of you know, heinous acts, right? However, that there is some maybe truth to all of these things, and that there is a karma system, it sounds like, that whenever you start to enter the astral world after your life, that it may have a role in how far down you can go, based on your own karma,
your ego deaths. I mean, it just has
I thought it was cool. And an interstice is the shallow layer of the astral world where things get really weird. Many legends, dead people, even gods roam there. People who had just made a exited the material world, kind of stuck in between moment, right? That I thought was really interesting. Mark would trigger if Puck was some sort of apostle. Okay, so people are sticking up for Puck. Okay, well, good. All right, that's great.
Good. I was hoping so, because I'm a big fan now.
And this kind of goes along with what we're talking about with the Astral World. Hawk of Light says, what do you guys make of the introduction of the Astral World? It was teased a bit here, but later becomes a pretty big aspect of the series. Well, yeah, I think it's already been in a pretty big aspect, right? And I think it's somebody, I think Trill Nathan was talking in chat, but we've kind of heard that people that believe children are very susceptible to this until they get very jaded. They can see elves. They can see these, elementals, these things that are coming from the astral plane, right? So we kind of already knew that some stuff was poking through. We knew the Godhead had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And
we've said it before. Yes, another world, which we get it explained, which is nice.
Yeah, and Flora, kind of irons out all of this. And what an important character. It also felt like the Oracle in The Matrix, if anyone has seen that. It felt very much like that. But yeah, Flora is giving us some pretty big stuff, and she even offers to give the trolls a run for their money. She wants to send Shirka and Guts after the trolls, and then she offers Guts a side quest, which is the side quest she unlocked. But he says, if if you go get rid of these trolls who are coming from the astral plane, I will give you a talisman. And this talisman is going to be able to protect you on your journey. It's going to be able to reduce the amount of demons that come from the brand, but also they cannot be possessed. And we all know that Guts is haunted by what he did whenever he was possessed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that was huge. And the fact, too, that she already knew that, which is insane. So I think we're going to see a lot to have. I mean, obviously they said it in the chat as well, but we're going to see a lot with that astral plane to see.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe how, how they know all these things. Can they shift? They have like little birds all around that'll tell them things. So that's gonna be very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And also the biggest moment of the other than the EC dropkick is the fact that when Guts and the crew are going and they're gonna go take care of these trolls, which I want to talk about the trolls next, by the way. Yeah. But when he turns around to say bye to Flora, he sees a shadow in the window and he goes, and he keeps walking. And then we as the reader get Flora going back in. And I knew it. I go, it's the Skull Knight.
Dude, you caught it as soon as I literally slapped the page and I was like, you caught it.
I knew it. I knew it.
You caught it. I didn't think it'd be there, but
and we get that big explanation of like, the Behelit and how it happens, and they lose a part of themselves, but they did start out as human. And she looks at the Skull Knight and says, I like to think that there's still a little piece of human left in you.
Yeah.
So who was the Skull Knight?
And like, obviously he is a very powerful entity or whatever, whatever he is, because she's like, it's kind of funny. You're asking me for a favor.
Yeah.
Meaning that the hierarchy is he's above her on whatever, a power scale, a status scale, something that is, he has something over her at least. Or
that's
spirit,
right.
I don't know, something, but
yeah, man. I mean, this was again,
I was hyped up, dude.
Some major stuff, and like, you're trying not to miss any of it, right?
Yeah. I read this one a lot slower than any of them that I read.
Same.
I mean, because what was so cool also is, we did get a peek behind the curtain, and at the time I was like, man, that's a lot of information. And then I really drank it in and thought about it, and I was like, actually, it's not a lot of information. There's just so much that we're going to have to learn. So you have to get that much up front to even somewhat scratch the surface.
Yes, and come on here and talk and make sure that we don't mess up.
Yeah, that too.
I know we do mess up a lot, folks, but we try. We try really hard.
Really, really do.
I'm going to read this one page, and this is kind of whenever Flora is talking to Guts about the different type, the worlds, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, the world doesn't extend merely to two dimensions. There exists profound depths within itself. This world could never be summarized by materialism or any single doctrine. Accept the great mysteries and explore the entire universe from within your world. That is the way of magic. Dope.
So dope.
We talk a lot about illustrations. We talk about cool lore, all this stuff, but like, that's some excellent prose. Like,
it really is.
That's just excellent writing. So impressive. And then another panel right after that, and it has Guts, and it's kind of like this big, I think it's like branches, but they almost look like teeth around him. And it says, it must be that malice. Your life cannot be without hatred, but that hellfire, that has kept you on your feet until this day is striving to incinerate even those you consider irreplaceable, and so it becomes shackles, which make your sword heavy and blunt.
Dude, I had that quote in there too. That was so powerful.
You know who Flora is reminding me of? Godo.
Yep. I guess 100%. Well, I mean, it's the old master,
Old master who's also
moving on.
This is a level up, right?
Yeah.
We're getting some new weapons and stuff now for the side characters.
We are.
Godo gave Guts his sword, right? So in his launcher and all this other stuff. So it's cool to have that parallel back to Godo, who we absolutely loved.
Oh yeah.
But man, what a beautiful
and so much to think about with that too. Like he wouldn't have survived without that hellfire, but it also consumes him.
Yeah.
Insane. I mean, so much to that. Such depth.
Yeah.
In just one panel. Like, damn, man. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. 2 of the best panels, in my opinion. I mean, I really, really love that. And to kind of round out this world lore that we have, it's supposed to be a trinity, right? We have our world, and then we have the astral world, which is the world of spirits. And then I love this one, the world of the idea, the sole origin of all existence. When do we go there?
All right.
When do we go there? Is that what we saw in the Lost chapter?
Do we want to? Well, we saw a little bit. There was that one panel that kind of showed a little bit of a vortex too. And it's when they're explaining the different levels. So Guts is almost recapping what that means for him. Because, I mean, he has traveled. He's traveled through the worlds.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know which ones, but, I mean, I probably would take those off of my travel list of the ones that he's been to. Yeah, but he still has to get his revenge. So he's be on some plane that they're on for the God Hand. So
yeah, and the idea of evil is the Lost chapter. Yeah, so I think connecting those wasn't a total farce on our side, right?
I would hope not.
Isaiah says, but you're not supposed to read Lost chapter. Well, we break the rules.
We found it.
Fate told me not to read it, so I decided to struggle against fate.
I see what you did there.
Oh, this is interesting. Someone asked and said, do you think a Dragon Slayer has magical properties? And that's a fascinating question, because one of the reasons why they're getting these magical weapons is because they're going to be effective against the astral creatures, right? The trolls in this regard. And that is a very fascinating question, because Guts turns down the Warhammer. And I thought that. I said, oh, is he going to be like useless and he's going to have to rely on the team? But I don't think that's the case. I'm sure he's going to be chopping through. I mean, shit, he killed the golems. He cut off the golem's head.
He's been killing these demons. So what level are they from? I mean, does he have one that's farther? Does he have a stronger weapon? Because Godo even said when we were making it that he needs it to kill the demons. So, I mean,
is it? Man, that's a good point. Godo knew some shit, didn't he?
Yeah.
I feel like it's more about Guts and the wielder of the sword. Like, I think Guts is an exception to every rule.
Yeah. Well, that's fair, because I mean they can kill. Well, he didn't kill that troll. He just forked him through the nose. So at least normal weapons can damage trolls. We know. Can it kill them? We haven't really seen enough to know that yet. I thought we were going to, but we didn't see very much battle.
Yeah.
That's why I cracked into the next one, and I was like, oh, man, okay, I don't want to get into this yet. I don't like reading ahead now, because of how we're doing this pacing, I don't want to know more. I like being ignorant when we talk about these.
I totally agree. There's some really cool stuff people are throwing out here. They're saying that the more demons that he kills, the more powerful the sword becomes. That's really cool. Isaiah
love that.
Yeah, that's dope. Isaiah says,
collecting this, dude. I love that. Sorry, go ahead.
He said that not originally the sword had been powerful, but by being used to kill so many apostles, it might have changed somehow. And that's true. I think that's pretty cool.
And
do you guys realize that Dragon Slayer emitted black energy of Shirka's vision? I did not.
I didn't either.
I did not. I was trying to figure out the astral world, apparently, and I missed it. But that's I think that kind of backs the idea that maybe the apostles or demons that he has slain have affected Dragon Slayer.
I love that idea, and I never put those together. But I mean, that's
I like
very interesting point.
tempered by demon blood. It's pretty metal.
Damn, it really is.
This is dope.
Oh, yeah. That is awesome.
So Guts shows Flora the Behelit, and which we learn is a deep root between the physical and astral world used to summon the 5 God hand. But there's a lot more to it than that. The Behelit is sent to the physical world by a high-ranking spirit entity that governs even human fate by even a greater existence. It'll end up in the intended person's hands whether they want it or not. And I think that is really, really interesting. And this is kind of where people are saying Puck's saying it's his.
Yeah.
It seems to always be with Guts. It's a really interesting thing. And then later on, Shirke says, would you really fight even against the gods of fate? Which we know our boy is. I mean, come on.
He deep. Yeah. He's not gonna back down from anybody. I did. Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This is just something stupid and funny. So go ahead.
Well, keep it in mind because Troll Nathan just said yes. There's a part where Shirka stares at the swords and says, "What?" I looked at that panel 5 times and I couldn't figure out what was between her eyes. It was Guts' sword. Because her face is light and then there's a blackness. Yeah. And I was actually going to, it's one of my questions I have, or actually it's my only question. And I was going to ask people.
Damn,
so
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool. Now, what was your other thing?
Oh, mine was not in any depth at all. It was just I thought it was funny when Puck was like, I'm gonna go watch Betchy now. Like, I just cracked me up. Yeah, like you're like, yeah, just this deep thing. Like, nah, man, this is the humor one.
Puck is definitely one of the MVPs of this volume for me.
And then Puck in the tiny little pool when they were bathing. I don't know why, it was hilarious. I love anything that's like too small or too big, like just something that's not the same, like not
just making it absurd, right?
Yeah. Like, so they're in this massive big bath and then Puck just has like a teacup essentially just bathing in it. That's hilarious.
It's like a scale. Yeah, there's a scale there.
What did you think of the other
Elf?
Elf.
Don't feel like we knew enough. But interesting that the elf is paired. By the way, is this elf a boy or girl? I thought this elf was a girl, but I don't want to be wrong again because I thought Puck was a girl for the first 3 issues. So.
I thought it.
Someone can let us know in chat. But yeah, I mean, anytime there's going to be more elves is going to be interesting. And remember, we're still supposed to go to Elfhelm.
I know.
Or Elfheim or whatever. So
I thought we were going to see more elves. I thought we were going to see more.
The elf is a girl. I got it right for the first time ever.
Okay, well, now that being said, I'm going to say this. I got the Roger Rabbit vibes for like when we got introduced. Like the hey, big boy. Like that's the like that one panel where she's like laying, I think, on the hat or something.
Okay. I dig that. I dig that. Ryan, I have listened to that a couple times. Yes. So we have an amazing exchange, by the way, talking about Flora and Shirke having, kind of this mentor student example. Shirke gets told that she needs to go help Guts, attend Guts, and she's upset. She's very upset.
Yeah.
But I love that Flora explains that Guts is special and wants Shirke to go with him because God bestows upon us fate, but it is the children of men who choose it. I mean, Flora is just out here putting out. She's like the Nostradamus,
right?
Of Berserk. I mean, these are bangers,
Oh, for sure. I like too that she is just plain. Like, such beauty in that simplicity with her.
Yes.
I mean, she's a witch. It wasn't overdone. She didn't have the hat. She didn't have anything. She's just sitting in a chair, a normal person. Like in a crowd, you probably wouldn't be able to pick her out. I don't know. I liked that. I appreciated that for her. And then just her to just be banging all this knowledge into you and having all this knowledge of the whole world, their journey, everything. I loved it. It was perfectly done, I thought.
Yeah, and another thing that Miura does really well is different character voices. Like we're talking about Godo and Flora being similar, but they speak very differently. Mm-hmm. And Flora feels like a mystical elderly witch when she speaks, when her dialogue is on page.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, I mean that's good writing. I mean that's what it takes to have good character voices in your head when you're reading. That defines for me good writing.
Yeah.
So I think, and a lot of this, I love a lot of these illustrations, but the writing also was excellent. in this volume.
I mean,
It always
everything
is,
just
but-
keeps, and it just keeps getting better. I don't know how it does, but it does. You think he's reached this pinnacle, and it just keeps going.
Did you think it was interesting that Farnese gets a silver chain vest just like Casca, but she gets a knife, and then they don't give Casca anything, right?
Well,
am I
I
missing
mean,
something?
no, I didn't think they did, but I mean, I probably wouldn't give Casca a knife either. Like she'd probably be like right in the eye, like like the way she is now. I hate to say that.
Well, and she's not a big fan of it. She's terrified of guts.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
When she fell in that just fell in the open grave and like crushed that. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was wild, right? Is that
That was crazy.
foreshadowing?
Dude, there's two of them too. They just got
Yeah.
married. Like, I don't know. I see it.
I don't even want to think about it.
I don't either. We'll just rewind a bit.
Someone said, not sure if you guys have mentioned the art, but how do you feel about the change to a more high fantasy style? I love it. And like I said, I felt like the fairy tale-esque of this issue was very on the nose, but I loved it. And I like seeing Miura's take on it. And if this is something that continues, I'm all for it.
Yes, I love it. Dude, honestly, some of my favorite panels too were the whole crew together. You know what I mean? I love just pan out, like everyone, stop cameo. I mean, obviously they didn't do that, but like they're geared up, got the sword, like everything. And in that one picture, it's when, I think it's right when they come into town, maybe, or right when they're leaving the house. Each one of their faces is so representative of the character.
Yeah.
Like if you really look at it, it's so representative, all the character. You got Isidro being a little shit. I mean, like all of them. Just, I loved it.
Yeah, man.
It's just cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as I read other mangas and stuff, this is definitely my favorite so far.
Yeah, still.
Truly.
Yeah, I finally cracked into Attack on Titan, so
Nice.
not far, but yeah, I'm digging it.
Yeah, I'm like a quarter of the way through the second Colossal Edition. I'm really enjoying it, but
they are so heavy. Not to get off subject.
Yeah, they're very heavy.
Like you would think that the Berserk Bible would be heavier, but
the Berserk Bible.
I took it with me in the car, and it got like the leather got hot. I'm like, I feel like I'm like on a like mission trip somewhere, like just spreading the word with my Berserk.
Are you an apostle?
I'll be start just doming people with the Berserk.
Dude, are we getting tattoos? Are we doing this?
Oh, dude, I'm for it.
I mean, I've never had a tattoo, but if there's ever been one to get, I think it's the brand.
Right there.
I
can never get the directions right on the camera.
I'm gonna do it right here.
I'm just do it right on the cheek.
Let's do it, dude. I've seen so many Berserk inspired tats. Oh, they're sick, dude. I mean, they're some of the coolest. I've never really had the push to get something, but Berserk just seems so symbolic.
Yeah,
and such a tight knit. Like honestly, like even doing these and having the people who watch all the time, it's like I like being a part of this community. I feel some sort of belonging to this, and it does encourage me to want to get a permanent tattoo. I guess
permanently mark your body so demons follow you around.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I didn't really think about those consequences.
We might have to also counteract that with the
I need to get a talisman.
Talisman, yeah, okay. Yeah. You knew I was not going to remember that word.
I got you. Don't worry.
I don't know why Salisbury Steak came to mind. I knew that wasn't right.
Oh man, do it on your forehead. No, I can't be doing all that.
Ooh, hate to see it.
I don't mind being married.
Oh, dude, how about too when they come into town and that priest, like what an asshole he was, just to everybody.
Oh yeah,
immediately.
absolutely.
Like I mean, Morgan gets back. He's like, "Hey, I brought some people to like help us out and save us," and they're like, "Nah, we're just gonna not do that, and I'm gonna be real rude to everybody."
Well, I thought it was also, Isaiah says, might be best to check any symbol means from Berserk before getting it. Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm not gonna like literally go out my door and go do that right now. I need to finish it and then also look at any other kind of real world inspiration for it. But yes, the priest, I thought it was really interesting that the priest was speaking out against these things, saying that the trolls were a test from God. But did you notice the difference between the two parties? The priest was encouraging people to just sit and pray and do nothing and be passive and to accept fate.
Yes, we're getting that.
But the
tracks are still running.
But the witch and the crew that we're with our little band of misfits are saying, let's fight, let's stand up, let's take action, let's rebuke fate.
Yes.
So that's again just a really good example of what Guts and his crew represent, I think, in this world. And they're such a stark contrast to a lot of the more dogmatic religions that we see in Berserk, from the Holy See to this priest to all of it. It is also interesting that they have to go hold up in the church and the witch is getting a bad feeling. And it's like, okay, that might be some foreshadowing coming up. Not just the fact, obviously, that they do not get along, but maybe we're going to see something happen there.
Yeah, I'm feeling that with that priest, man. He just... and I mean, I've seen it in the past. Miura draws people that you are like a little apprehensive. Oh my God. Yes.
Let's get some judo tattoos.
Oh, dude, I would do Puck too, honestly.
Just Puck would be great, actually.
For the lulz.
I'm going to start dressing up like Puck. That's gonna be
Please. Well, we're doing the Halloween one, right? So
dude, we're gonna live watch the first episode of whatever anime it is. It'll be great.
The people have not forgotten. By the people, I mean me. I have not forgotten. Let it be known.
What did you think about the trolls? I really wanted to talk about the trolls because from their they're very icky. From their beginning of the volume to the end, and the troll tack near the end, like we kind of get left on a cliffhanger. Dude, it's pretty wild. I thought that the illustrations of them were like truly disgusting and haunting.
I mean, their noses look like dicks too.
They kind of look like rats, but like
just not. Yeah. They were, I mean, icky is just the best way I could describe them, and immediately.
Well, I remember I said I love trolls. Remember that? I said, "Oh man, like I absolutely
do remember that
of trolls and stories." And then like I see these, and I don't love them the same way, but I do appreciate how disgusting they are. I mean,
it's a needed for them, and I think that it really just ensues that fear more so too. I mean, they're just feral, just godless, terrible creatures, and
does it remind you of the Trollocs from Wheel of Time? Remember the Trollocs coming in?
Yeah.
River. That is kind of what I have in my head.
I could see that.
And it came and they did a village, right? Like
yeah.
I mean, it's very similar to the Trolloc attack in Eye of the World.
And I liked to see too that they have progressed and they have weapons. Yeah. So like, we see that too. Like they're not just mindless creatures. Like they have, and we see too, like, hey, they were coming in. They knew not to just bombard roll in here. They've been slowly taking things. Okay, I can't take anything more from this town. So now we're just going to all out. We're just, Hail Mary, and they're going to come in and eat everybody.
Yeah, and this feels like, I mean, we've had a lot of battles, obviously, right? But some of the bigger things that we've seen have been like the Tower of Conviction, the Eclipse. Those are the two that stand out in my mind. And those are almost watching an event unfold.
Yeah.
Whereas this and we've had big scale battles. I mean, some of those panels were phenomenal, but it's usually like Guts just cleaning house. Like that's usually what it is. Or he gets in a 1v1 or something like that. This really feels like the first big like siege type battle that I'm like very curious of what the outcome is going to be, because since the Hawk of Light now is in, or the Hawk of Darkness is in the world, it feels like everything has been elevated.
Yeah.
And that this war is going to be a lot different from the other battles that we've seen.
I'm thinking too that the veil, with that, going along with what you said, the veil is being shattered, or it is slowly dissipating. So I mean, that's where my mind goes with the Skull Knight, is that he wants to kind of either, well, we don't know, but either, put the pieces back together or break it apart more, and then really just bring all the worlds into one. That's my thoughts. For what reason? Maybe because he's stuck in limbo. Maybe because
I think the Skull Knight represents causality and is much like Guts in that regard. I don't know. I actually am not totally convinced that Skull Knight will care about everything. Like he almost seems like he just likes in seeing what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty reactive in a lot of things. And he also puppet strings. Yeah, he just kind of dabbles a bit.
But he does interfere. I mean, he absolutely has interfered. So that's an interesting point. I almost feel like Griffith represents maybe the idea of getting rid of the bonds between the worlds. Because since the Hawk of
That's
Light
fair.
showed up, that's the day the world changed.
Yeah, that's
Every time
true.
we enter one of these new places, they say, and on this day the world changed. This one was the first day of winter when the trolls attacked the village. It was the day the world changed. They always say that.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing was ever the same. So I feel like Griffith is the catalyst of the realms collapsing.
Oh, also, someone calls Griffith the Absolute.
Yes.
And I think it was Shirka. I'm pretty sure it was Shirka. Let me look.
Yeah. And
yes. Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know. I felt that was important.
Yes,
the absolute
says that the human bodies of the God Hand, I believe, I might be wrong. This is called the ego,
I think you're right. Yeah,
which is pretty symbolic, I think, of Griffith's aspirations to have his own kingdom and do these things. I'm sure we're getting like all of this wrong. Don't tell us, chat. But I'm so excited to see what happens.
So much speculation. So yeah, it's exciting.
It says we got that last volume with the little girl around Griffith, didn't we? Thought of transference. Yeah, thought of transference is a thing as well, which was really interesting. Yeah. There's a lot going on here, man.
It's deep. It's deep.
Serpico also seems very sad that Farnese has changed and kind of questions his role at the end of it all, right? But he's about to do his little roaring whirlwind sword that he got, which was really cool. But it seems like there's a lot of turmoil inside every single person in the crew now. Even though new relationships are forming, it seems like old ones are starting to fall apart. Like Farnese and Casca are
inseparable now. I mean, that's the first one she came and hugged when she fell out of that grave.
Yeah, there's a really good quote. Let's see.
I did think it was quite funny when Serpico, he's like, "Oh man, like he's getting all hyped up. I'm going to use my new sword," and they're like, "Wait, you didn't say the words." Abracadabra. Like, I forgot. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this thing is dope." Yeah, when they showed him that, I'm like, "Oh really? A feather? Like, come on." But then I thought about it, I'm like, "All right, that's pretty hype." All the gear was dope.
Yeah, the gear was dope. Very, very dope.
I wish we would have at least. I mean, I'm true Guts fashion. I don't want that. Whatever it was, like a hammer or axe. But I would have liked to at least heard the story. Like,
fair enough. Yeah,
the Starstone axe. Like, what is it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I had a quote written down. I can't seem to find it, but it's whenever basically Guts says that Farnese will protect Casca, and it's like he's basically saying like you have to protect her now because I am a threat. And I thought
like when she's really struggling. Is that what you're meaning? Like when she's like, I don't feel like I fit in. I'm worthless. That part when he kind of
he says, I would only hurt you.
Yeah.
Like he says, she must protect because I would only hurt you. The panel was awesome, I remember. But the Farnese and Casca friendship is very endearing. But it's interesting because Farnese and Serpico seems to be having doubts. He's saying, I will go with her to the end of time, but I hate this change. And he hates Guts. And he said, I would love to see you die.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, geez, Serpico. Oh, geez.
Relax, brother. It's kind of almost now, I mean, you saying that like relationships changing, it's almost that one has morphed into Casca's now she is getting taken care of, and now Farnese is the caretaker. So now Serpico is just sitting here like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, she's a caretaker now. The one that I was a caretaker to before, as spun as she was. Well, that was kind of his life. That's always been his life.
Well, yeah, and Farnese also feels herself as a burden. She even says it again in this volume, but she doesn't see the fact that really she's probably the only thing that's keeping Casca still with the band.
And really keeping everybody together. Like, really, a lot of them together.
Yeah, and then it also as these people get their own weapons and things, it almost feels like Guts doesn't become as much of a necessity. So will we see Guts leave the band again eventually?
I think we're just gearing up, man. We have to even the playing field for him versus Griffith.
Yeah.
So that's why they're getting this geared up. I really, really liked Shirka. Did you?
Oh yes, I also just like her character with the hood and everything.
I love how she's drawn.
Very classical witch, right? And I love witches in stories. Always have. The modern day fantasy has really gotten away from that for whatever reason. The old Witch in the Woods, and I wish that there were more of it because I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think Gwen does a good job too with that.
Yeah. Yes, he does. Yes.
having the
Well,
witch in the woods, and we also get the trolls with him as well.
yes, Jungwen relies a lot on like folklore,
Mhm.
Celtic folklore, and also Norse inspired stuff. So yeah, we see a lot
Yeah,
of that
very cool.
because witches in these things they aren't exclusive to fantasy books. I mean, they
Yeah,
were literally a part of our real world mythology in some regards, or at least our fantastical beliefs back in the day.
hmm
So and there's still people today that practice these things and
yeah.
think it's real, but whatever. Um, crazy. um,
Witches.
but I love this. I think we had the cliffhanger. We see that this war is about to take off, and it's just beginning. And I think it's going to be an epic battle. I'm very, very curious to see how Shirka and Guts end up having a relationship because everyone that meets Guts immediately is like not a big fan. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Come on.
Yeah.
He's kind of standoffish, to put it mildly.
He's abrasive. He has like slab on his back. Like, come on.
We'll see how she comes around. I'm excited to have a mage going with the band. I think that's really cool. And I'm excited to see what these new magical weapons do because we're not going to just get the comeuppance. That means that the enemies are also going to level up. So it'll be exciting to see what happens with this. And also, do you think Morgan? I think Morgan's probably a character we aren't going to see much more of, right?
I think Morgan's gonna have a last stand in this battle. That's my thought.
Ooh.
I think he's gonna save Isidro, and it's gonna really change him. That's my thought.
Well, damn. Okay.
I mean,
like
I know
that.
that's a lot, but like that's my 2 cents on it.
I was wondering if it would be like many of the other side characters where Morgan kind of says, I'll see you later, and I'm wondering, and this is endgame speculation here that we may never get because obviously Miura is no longer around, but I wonder if all these people that Guts has helped that he's left, like Rosie, all these other people. I wonder if at the end of the story, maybe they were all going to come and talk about the traveler, talk about the struggler that came and helped them and say, you know what I mean? And then they help and band together to maybe not. Who knows?
I could see that. I can also see him going back and to the Fiora's house and then them just like dying together because they're both like on their last. That would be nice, but that's too nice.
Yeah,
so we can't.
Nice for this
Dude,
universe.
did you see the similarities with Annie and Tibbers from League of Legends with the mud
100%.
monsters? And I was as immediate like Tibbers, like that's what I thought immediately. We got a little witch girl and a big fluffy killer that looks super nice, but is really
Tibbers. I forgot about that. League of Legends.
Wow. Oh man.
Yeah, Ryan is talking about the character development. Yeah, character development. I mean, it's it's some of the best. I mean, this is just excellent. But that kind of wraps up Volume 24. We'll be going into the big troll war to save the village and to hopefully grant Guts and crew a talisman. I can't imagine that Flora is going to get off easy for helping the struggler. I am very nervous that tree might get cut down and might lose
God. Why did you say that?
Yeah, it's going to be like the Scouring of the Shire.
Oh no,
that's my guess. I think that tree is coming down, bro.
God,
it's not going to be
good.
good.
I like mine better. Let's have a nice them just dying in that room with the big glass window.
Nah, it's going to go down poorly.
You're right. We can't have anything nice in Berserk, or at least for a couple pages we can sometime.
What was your favorite moment from this volume?
Oh man, favorite moment. I would say mine was more so just that one panel that I was talking about earlier about all of everyone together and just seeing them moving forward. What's going to come of that? Like that was for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that's not super deep, but like that, and then the conversation with Guts and Fiora was pretty powerful stuff there. What about you?
My favorite is actually the scene. I edited it for the thumbnail and removed Isidro, but when Isidro and there's like the picture of the moon and it's Guts and he has a sword and he's like lunging. He's the monster that kills the monsters.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's so sick, dude.
I was kind of sleeping on that, but all right. Yeah.
And again, there's something about Guts and the moon. Like, I don't know what it is, but remember when Guts fell and the Wozak Hack and the moon was up there?
Yeah,
like, and then the eclipse. Like, there's just so much moon symbolism around Guts. And in that panel, you can see it in the thumbnail. It just has the moon up there.
Yeah.
A close runner-up, which is why I mixed this with the thumbnail and I put Legend. I love when Morgan said a legend for a legend,
Yes,
talking
that-
about getting the witch to fight the trolls. A
Yes.
legend for a legend. I don't know. I
That's-
just thought that was such a good
that's
little,
symbolic and
Yeah.
yeah, it's good stuff.
really, really good. But he's the monster that kills the monsters.
Yeah,
Dope.
I love it.
Really dope. All right. Well, I guess we'll be back in 2 weeks to see what
Yeah.
happens with these Troll Wars and volume 25. Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate
thanks
doing
for
this.
having me, dude.
As
It's fun.
always, it's a thing. I mean, we're very consistent on this.
I
one.
know this is great.
Everyone, we want to thank you for coming in on the live stream. Or if you're watching this after the fact, hit like on the video. It does help us out tremendously. If you're not subscribed, think about subscribing. We do this podcast every 2 weeks as a live stream and then leave it up after the fact for people to watch it in their free time. And we love doing this. We're having a great time. We're going to do other stuff as well, but we will be with Berserk for the foreseeable future, probably almost the remainder of this year. So that's really exciting stuff, and we're going to watch the animes and all that other stuff. So it's going to be pretty amazing. So thank you all for checking it out. We really appreciate it. I'm going to put the playlist for the rest of our Berserk content down in the comments. It'll be pinned at the top. But again, everyone, thank you so much for checking it out, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. But until then, that's right, mark it down. And until then, be good, be safe, and remember to always
keep turning the page.